It was on a dreary night of November that I beheld the accomplishment of my toils. With an anxiety that amounted almost to agony, I collected the instruments of life around me, that I might infuse a spark of being into the lifeless thing that lay at my feet. Frankenstein. Where even to begin with Frankenstein? The original science fiction story, a monster who inspired generations of creators, the invention of the mad scientist trope. There's just so much to unpack from this one book, and it turned 200 years old this year. I can't think of anything else that has lasted that long, with that kind of a legacy. Well, except of course... comrades. To celebrate this incredible milestone, I have decided to make October, the spookiest month, into Frankenstein Month. I'll be looking at several different pieces of Frankenstein media over the course of this month. Now, when it comes to adaptations of Frankenstein, there are a lot. Like, a lot. So we'll honestly barely be skimming the surfaces of this pond. But don't worry, I'll never quite be done talking about the big lug. He's one of my favourites. But for now, what better place to start than right at the beginning? It was 1816, the year without a summer, when a group of scandalous individuals were gathered at the Villa Diodati in Geneva. There was the continuously outrageous Lord Byron, the young doctor, John William Polidori, the atheist poet Percy Shelley, the also there Claire Clairmont, and of course, 18-year-old Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin, who would later be known as Mary Shelley. The party started a competition to write a ghost story. Only two of them would produce anything of merit from the contest: Polidori's influential The Vampire, and, that little book that Mary wrote. Frankenstein, or the Modern Prometheus, was published on the 1st of January 1818, and the world of literature was changed forever. Initially published anonymously, with an edition of only 500 copies in 3 volumes, it was nevertheless quite successful, seeing a lot of use through lending libraries. Many people incorrectly assumed that Percy Shelley wrote the novel, given his introduction to the text and the book's dedication to Mary's father and Percy's mentor, William Godwin. But Mary would eventually get her dues when the book was republished in 1823, following on from the success of a stage version of the story, Presumption, or The Fate of Frankenstein. The book would be republished again in 1831, this time significantly revised, and has been in print continuously since then. If you've read the book, then the 1831 edition is probably what you've seen. While copies of the 1818 text are still available to get, the revised version is generally more widely used in the many editions that are out there. Now, as this book is old enough to be in the public domain, there are a ridiculous number of editions of it out there. These range from cheap and serviceable paperbacks to nice gift edition hardbacks to the ridiculously lavish new annotated version by Leslie S. Klinger, to this, which might be the greatest thing I have ever seen in my life. It just doesn't get better than this. My life has peaked. The story has 3 narratives nested inside of each other like Russian dolls. These being Walton, the explorer's letters to his sister, Victor Frankenstein's narrative, and The Creature's Tale. Each works with its own distinct tone of voice to create a chilling and emotionally effective story that continues to captivate us today. Victor Frankenstein, who is somewhat based on Percy Shelley, is a character that is easy to both sympathise with and criticise. He sets on towards his goals to create life from death for seemingly noble reasons, and he deeply cares for his family and friends. That's an easy thing to connect to, but at the same time, he causes his own downfall by abandoning the creature. The creature's first experience in this new world is being looked on with pure revulsion and terror. His creator then abandons him, and he has to fend for himself, unaware of how the world works. As a result, he becomes the victim of immense cruelty, and the only people he looks at as good and pure are also afraid of him. All he knows is misery, which makes him even more relatable than Victor, to be honest, except for when he starts turning those feelings into murdering. That's when it stops being okay. Point is, the book works so well because of just how much you end up caring for the two leads and seeing the interplay between them. But here's the thing, I hadn't read this book until this year. I tried once when I was about 15 or so, but didn't get into it. My experience with Frankenstein was through the adaptations, and much as I have now read this book a couple of times, and I love it, it's still the adaptations I'm going to be spending more of this month looking at. This is Frankenstein Month. Next up, we'll be seeing how Frankenstein truly became a star. Thank you for watching the first part of Frankenstein Month. Be sure to let me know what you thought of it in a comment and click on the things. This is my first time trying a theme month, so let's see how it goes. And as for this, well, It's Frankenstein month. I don't get dressed up just for anyone, you know.